This is the High Button Podcast. We are back. Long awaited. I mean, the past 4 days have felt like 10 days. So we feel like we haven't been sitting in these chairs for a little bit. But boys, we are back. We are here. We are at the studio of High Button Sports, which is a good thing for us because there was looking like a chance like we weren't even going to be allowed back into Canada or into the States on the way up there.
Stuck in the middle.
Before we get into that, let's just be grateful that we're here. I don't even have a song laid out for. I just realized I don't have a little song laid out for. I'll think of one on the way. I guess for the border, that would be a good song.
Yeah, like
think of one.
Bad Boys or something.
Anyways, I usually start these things with boys. How was your weekend? But I already know. But we'll keep tradition here. Jeff, how was your weekend?
The weekend was good. The week was an all-timer, including obviously the Boston trip. But last few days went pretty good too. Busiest weekend for the streams so far this year, with all the playoffs starting and regular season wrapping up. But everyone came together and we got her done, so I'm happy.
Oh boy, dudes, how was your weekend?
That was so well said. Very short. Weekend was good. Same, like honestly, either one of us you can take either one of our answers. You know, we had a bunch of games. It's very weird that the one time we come back from our trip, it's the busiest weekend, but that's how it goes. I was proud of the guys this weekend, especially the guys that were kind of carrying things while we were on our way back. But like Jeff said, man, last week was what dreams are made of, and as a hockey fan and my inner kid, unbelievable, man. And just to top it off with a pretty successful weekend with games and playoff hockey, it was pretty good. Actually, it was really good.
Yeah, it was great.
How about you?
The weekend?
Weekend, yeah.
Weekend was good. Not into it. Not a big drinker. So with the fact that you drink in Boston and you come back, I wasn't in it. Does that make sense? Like I can't even hold a conversation. I can barely hold a conversation not drinking. But being, not really into it. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I battled through. Did house chores, like any married man. When you go away for a bit and you come home, you're put to work. So I was vacuuming, dusting, laundrying, fluffing the pillows, chopping the pillows in half to make them look good, the whole 9 yards to make everything look spick and span in this house. Because when you go away, there's repercussions when you come home. Everyone out there knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, let's just get into it. How Air Canada is the worst company in the world. Let's just lay it out there.
Yeah. Spade is spade.
Should we just go for it?
Go for it. Start us off, baby.
So let's just, how many hours are in a week? Because essentially this is the day last week where the shit hit the fan. So before we get into it, I'd like to know how many hours are in a week.
All right, well.
Hey, Siri.
This shouldn't be that hard. It should be just 24 times 7.
Yeah.
So let's just do that. Boys like math. Come on here. 7 times 24, 168 hours in a week.
168 hours?
We'll go with 169 because it's better.
Okay, so 169 hours ago, myself, Justin, Matthew Doodley sitting across from me, Jeff, Warburton, Cohen, were you here?
Yeah.
Okay, so 169 hours ago, we're sitting here just happy, just smiling, ear to ear. Boys, we're going to Boston. We get to go see Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, put the puck in the net and play against the Ketchup Brothers. This is going to be unreal. We're sitting here on cloud 9. All of a sudden, all three of us get a text. Ding, ding, ding. Air Canada. Basically, the text says, listen, boys, your flight's delayed. Check back in 30 minutes, and we'll let you know when we can fly you out.
Flight was canceled, actually, is the term.
Canceled?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for correcting me.
We had to wait to see if they even gave us one.
Me being a dummy, I'm not panicking. I'm going, no, this trip is meant to be. Nothing's going to stop us. Nothing's going to get in our way. We're going to be in Boston having the time of our lives. This is meant to be. We're going to be there. We're going to fly in, a little champagne on the plane. Everything's fine. 30 minutes later, the flight's been delayed till 4 o'clock. And I'm thinking, okay, 4 o'clock, but I'm not even checking the day of the week. I'm thinking, okay, Tuesday, instead of flying out at 6 a.m., we're just flying out Tuesday at 4 p.m. No problem. I'm a little upset, but hey, can't nothing bring me down. I said, just whatever. We all leave. All right, boys, we'll see you at the airport. Flight's at 4. Let's try to be there at 2. Sounds good. Me just not checking the day of the week. Maybe 4 hours later, I'm up on the couch just scrolling through the Air Canada notification. I go, wait a second. Why is it saying that we're leaving on Thursday now? Thursday? I thought we were supposed to leave Tuesday. So wait a second, the game's at Thursday. Wait a second, what time? We're leaving at 4 o'clock on Thursday. The game's at 8. We're not landing till 6:37. Wait a second. Then all of a sudden the panic sets in. Then I'm just kind of going over my head. Okay, I'm checking the tickets on my phone. Okay, yeah, the game is Thursday. Wait, we already have the hotel booked for Wednesday. And now this is where my head explodes. Dudes is napping at home, so I have to call him, wake him up. And imagine getting all this news after a wake up. So he doesn't even, I'm relaying the info, and I can tell from his responses, he doesn't even really know what's going on. So I go, okay, dudes, I'll call you back. I call Jeff. Jeff gets it. Jeff's, I don't know what your whole demeanor was towards all this, but you were basically packed and said, okay, let's just drive. I call Dudes back. Dudes is eventually awake. And now Dudes is on the same page as Jeff. Now the only issue is the vehicle. We got to drive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me and my wife have 2 cars. That's fine, but one of the vehicles is better set for driving 10 hours. The SUV. But she had a little work trip this week as well that she'll show she could have used it. So that was a thing. Figuring out the cars. Am I missing anything?
No, just other than the vehicles, but yeah, like my vehicle wasn't set to go, and we could have taken yours, but we were set on taking.
We
the
could have
SUV.
taken your guys' cars, but like I got a new SUV. It's like this is what you get the new SUV for. This is it. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you go to the dealership and you go, hey, like, what do you do for? They ask you, what do you do for work? And you go, hey, you know, I travel. Like, put some stuff in the back, and you know, this is literally what you tell the lady at Honda. And she's like, oh, we got the car for you. And then you're like, all right, now the trip has come, and you just not to use it would have sucked. So you know, and also every single car out there, like the roads were awful on Tuesdays when we left.
yeah.
The roads were awful on Tuesday. So to leave the wife with the lesser car, you know, it didn't feel good. But eventually we got through that, and she was like, go with the SUV, have fun. You guys deserve it. You work your bags off, go for it. So that was great. Leaving the house, I pick Dudes and Jeff up Tuesday night at
Like 8:30, picked me up. I think.
Yeah, 8:30.
8:30. So yeah.
Yeah, like, and for a little bit of context, like, yes, I was napping and all that stuff. You wake up from 4 or 5 texts from me, and you immediately know if Belly texts you 4 or 5 times in a row, something's up. Like, you know, and none of us picked up on the Thursday thing either. But I think around 8 o'clock, 7:45, you texted me and you were like, "Are you packed?" And I was like, "No, but I can pack in, 10 minutes."
It takes 2 seconds to pack.
So
for a guy.
within that time frame between 7:45 and 8:30, we had all packed, we had all gathered what we needed, and then you had picked him up and then come and grabbed me and then took me to my fiance's work to say goodbye to her because now the plan has changed. God love her for that. And this is all within like 45 minutes that all this is happening, and all of a sudden we're on the road to Boston, happy as 2 pigs and shit. So, or 3 pigs and shit, I guess, in this scenario.
I threw when I opened my luggage in the hotel in Boston, I had like 5 pairs of pants and 1 shirt. Like I just nothing that I really needed
No.
for Boston.
Panic pack.
Thank God I had a jacket.
Yeah, I brought the 2 exact same pair of track pants and nothing else, basically. So I feel you on that, man. Panic packing is a real thing, but I think what we were all worried about was just bringing our passports. That
Yes.
was it. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
been the theme du jour for the last like 3 months. So
Yeah.
it was pretty wild hour, man. Like to wake up from a nap. And that was after a long day. Like, we got the notification. We didn't panic. We were like, whatever.
Oh,
we're going to
dude.
go in a few hours extra. Who cares? We're going to get there in plenty of time. You work the rest of the day. You go home. You rest. You have shit to do. And you're like, whatever. I'll just do it later. And then now all of a sudden you're leaving in 2 hours.
I remember that morning I was up at 6 a.m. because I had so much work to do before we went to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in Boston, I didn't have to think about it. So I remember that morning, yeah, I'm up at 6, coffee at 6:10 at my desk, like emails, editing, scheduling, just like it was a grind of a day. And then to get that notification that the flight's leaving Thursday, it could have been nice Air Canada. I still don't have my money back if you're listening. If you made the flight happen, I get it. And it's hard to complain because when we're in Boston, we hear people from Winnipeg and Calgary that drove too, like a 30-hour drive. You're just like, all right, it's tough to complain. Halifax, 10 hours, but still, like, I want my money back.
Yeah, that's the point.
Where were we? Okay, so I picked the boys up at 11 o'clock. No, 10. What did we
It
say?
was
10?
about 8:30. You picked us up.
Okay, so we're driving. The car is full of gas. Stop and get our coffees. We're going. We're moving. We're grooving. The only issue, let's just get through the border. You know the border. You feel like you're a 16-year-old kid buying liquor again. You're not doing anything wrong, Well, you are when you're 16 buying liquor, but you even when you just have that like feeling when you're going through the border, like, all right, you just got to get through the border and then we're good. We get there 2 a.m.
About 2:30. Yeah.
2:30.
2:30 a.m. How you doing? I'm Justin. This is Matt. This is Jeff in the back seat here. Here are our passports. All's going well. Yada yada. Small talk, laughing, letting the lady know that we're nice people. We're not here to
Harm anybody?
We're just a couple Canadian boys going to watch a hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
Try or finish.
Great song. There's your jingle that you were looking for.
There's a jingle. I didn't even realize the dryer was going. I wonder if that was messing with the audio.
No.
Should we start the podcast over?
Flip her all the way back to the beginning.
Anyways, this has never happened to me. Yeah, it did happen to you before.
Yeah,
Jeff, it never happened to you at the border?
Nope.
We pull up. All's well. Answering your questions. Yep, we work for a broadcasting company. We're going up here to see the Four Nations Cup. All yada yada. We think all is going well. All of a sudden, she goes, "Okay, fellas, pull up to the side, get out of the car, walk into the border." And we're just really confused. You got to remember, it's 2 a.m. We're kind of tired. Our plan was just to go into Maine, grab a hotel, stay the night there, and then continue on to Boston the rest of the morning the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not overly panicking when we get pulled over into the border. We're just like, boys, we're doing nothing wrong here. Like, why are we upset? Why are we panicking? It's fine. We'll go in and we'll see what they say. So we go in. They say, "Hey, we're going to search the car. Do you guys have anything you're hiding?" Obviously, we're like, no, nothing.
Barely have anything
nothing.
in there.
Nothing. Like, we barely packed our clothes. We barely got toothpaste. So they go in, and just set the premise for the story. American borders, the security there, extremely aggressive for no reason.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
It's 2 a.m, 3 guys under the age of like 35 are trying to get through. I don't know if that's sketchy.
It looks a little bit, yeah.
But I don't know. Anyways, there was no one going through at the border, so maybe the guys and the girls at the border were just bored and they wanted someone to come in to hang out. No
100%.
idea. So we go in there, we sit down, they search the car, they come back in. I have a prescription that doesn't match my my passport I got in Vancouver doesn't match the same address as what the prescription is matched for on the bag because the prescription's in Halifax. So they find that, and they find dudes' vape, which is nicotine.
Yeah, that was a little thing too.
So she comes back in. She goes, "Whose medication?" I go, "Mine." She goes, "Whose vape?" Which is not illegal.
Nope.
Dudes goes, "Mine." So all goes through. Have you ever seen the Hangover movie when they're all sitting there in the police station just miserable for that? If to paint a picture, that was me, that was Jeff, that was dudes. We're just sitting there high on life, but also confused. And then as 1 hour goes by, as 2 hours goes by, the energy is just being drained from us, knowing that we could be driving on our way to Boston or to Maine.
Mm-hmm.
3 hours go by, we're sitting there, and they call me up and they give me flack about the medication not matching the address on the bag, the passport not matching the label. And then all of a sudden they say you can't go through, and also you have to pay a $500 fine. 500 American, 800 Canadian.
1.4.
So at this point, I'm like, if you know me, I'm a positive guy. Even if you say we can't go through, my head is going, "Oh, we're getting through. I don't care what we're doing. We're getting through. I'm a salesman at the end of the day. I don't know what it's going to take, but we're going to this game." So, I'm not, and also I'm not putting up a fight for 500 or 800. Like, it sucks, but like, I'm not going to sit there and argue it. My process of my mind was, if I don't fight it and I just go, "Okay, sounds good. Like, that's unfortunate, but whatever. I understand." Even though I did nothing wrong and a couple things didn't match up, now I have to sit here and take it like a man. Go, "Okay, yeah, I apologize." Park your ego to the side and just keep on moving forward, whatever you have to do to get through the border. So I pay my fine, go sit down. I go back to Dudes and Jeff. I just give them the old thumbs down. I go, "We're not going through tonight, boys." Jeff, Dudes, head in the lap. They're obviously pissed, but I just go, "Boys, stay calm. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. We're going to be fine." So 3 hours and 10 minutes go in, and I'm just kind of getting pissed off now because I already paid the fine. So, like, let us go here. Like, the fact that you're not letting us through.
Or just send us home.
Back to Canada.
Sure.
One of them. Pick one.
At this point, it's 5 a.m. We could have been in Boston. I go, "Hey, guys, is there anything else you need me to do here? I've signed away my life, it seems like. I've swabbed everything." Something's going on with the TV in the back there. maybe just turn the TV off. I swab like my mouth. I feel like I had to do my fingerprints. Everything is done.
And that's all firsts for you, right?
Yeah, and I just feel like I'm getting pushed around. So at 5 a.m, I have no energy left. I'm sick of it. So this is where the positive belly's gone. I walk up. I go, hey, is there anything else you need me to do here? I've paid my fine. You've taken my medication. I need to go. What's going on? And they go, yeah, you're good. Just sign this one more piece of paper. And as I'm leaving and I sign this piece of paper, obviously I need to figure out, can we go through eventually? Like, am I kicked out of the States for the rest of my life? What's happening here?
Yeah, there's no information either.
No information. I'm asking. They're not giving me anything. And I just go, hey, are we allowed back in here like tomorrow? And the guy looks at me and he just goes, yeah, just come back tomorrow and, we'll be able to let you through. And they give me a piece of paper that says, what did it say?
It said something like it was a seizure, and then the next box below it was specific about being able to enter. You're not banned. You're allowed to re-enter at some point, but it never said in 6 hours and 12 hours and 24 hours, and no one gave us any information.
Very
and just
unofficial.
to piggyback like very quickly, all of this stuff you're talking about is they were complete hardos about everything. The vape, everything. Like they were just like completely like pestering us like we were these smugglers, man. It was crazy. So
anyway, so we get through, we leave, and I'm looking at this piece of paper that says we're allowed back in. I'm like, okay, well, where's the time restraint from where I'm allowed back in and I'm not allowed back in? So when you leave the American border, you have to go through the Canadian border. I give this guy, absolute beauty, by the way, great guy at the Canadian border. I give him the piece of paper. I'm like, so what do we do here? Like, there's no time restraint. Like, technically, can we turn back around and just try that again? And the guy's like, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could try it. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So we leave, go get a coffee, get our heads back, we're straight. And we go, look, boys, wouldn't we rather deal with the people that just searched our car knowing everything is fine rather than waiting, going to get a $200 hotel and then dealing with new people that have no idea what the situation is? But us, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm the one that made the decision. But I guess I wasn't thinking straight. I go, boys, we're going back. These people know us. They just wouldn't let us in. But these people also know the situation. There's no time restraint. We did all the research online. The Canadian border guy said, no, you can technically turn right back around. So we tried it. We go in. They basically look at us like we're the Three Stooges. And they go, no, you can't come back in. Wait till tomorrow. So we go, where'd we go? St. Andrews?
St. Andrews, but can we pause for a sec?
Sure.
Because while we were deciding this, you even brought up the question to the guy, like, would we go to another port? Is that a better idea? And the guy was like, that's probably a little more sketchy. We agreed on that. We were like, okay, like you said, we're going to go through. These people know everything about us now. The whole car's torn apart, like my suitcase was still open. And then we were like, okay, well, let's not be extra sketchy because they obviously think we already are. So we're like, okay, let's go back. So we went and got a coffee, got our heads kind of cleared, answered a few questions from online, and Google's your friend at that point.
ChatGPT.
And so we end up going through, and you forgot this part too. Once we go through, the guy sees us again, and he's just kind of like,
oh man,
like, you guys got to be kidding me.
I've never seen a look like that from someone before.
So we go back in, and the border guy is like, the older guy that was there was kind of nice. Like, I asked him if I could bring my coffee, and he was like, sure, come on in. And as soon as we get in, the lady that was the hardo the whole time, her immediate reaction was, well, you guys have just signed yourselves up for another 3 hours, meaning we already know what you guys did and what, we searched the car. We know everything about you right now, but we don't care. We're just about to make your night more miserable, is how it felt to me. Like, it felt like the biggest slap in the face. It's like, dude,
Dude, me and dudes at that point, like, after the 3 hours of sitting there, like, pretty calmly, when we got in the second time, like, I was ready to start swinging, man. Like, when they said that,
it was just completely disrespect.
Me and dudes just, like, looked at each other like...
It's complete disrespect.
I'm surprised we didn't start fighting, me and you. Like, I was just, like, I was irate.
Yeah.
When we sat down.
Just out of pure arrogance. Like, nothing was wrong. We did nothing illegal. We're literally just three Canadian fellas trying to go up and watch a hockey game.
And, like, had you given us any information whatsoever, we would have been able to work with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Just let us know. I asked them. I was like, so can we turn around and come back, like, right now? And they're just like, And I was like, what does that mean? Like, just say yes or no.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Give us an answer.
So anyways, we get denied a second time. We go to St. Andrews, get a hotel. We wait the next day till 3 o'clock.
Backtrack again.
Okay.
Because this is part of it.
I'm just trying to get to Boston.
I know, but the journey is more about than the destination, in my opinion.
Okay.
So we go back to St. Andrews. Buddy at the border's like, St. Stephen, or go to St. John. That's where stuff's happening. It's like, dude, we're not trying to stay in St. John. We're trying to go to Boston. Like, I don't care what's going on in St. John. Go back to St. Andrews. We get a hotel. Nice hotel on the water down there. The problem was we got there at 6:30 and the hotel lobby doesn't open till 7 o'clock. So now we have to wait another 40 minutes and you were going in every 5 minutes to see because they just didn't have anybody at the desk. And finally we got in at 7 o'clock in the morning.
At this point, none of us have slept for 48 hours. We're just up. None of us have slept or eaten. We're just, when you're just going through the motions, barely. Like I couldn't. We're sitting in the car. I couldn't stay awake. I didn't even know if I could get my credit card in the slot. I'm just. So eventually it's 7. The lady's still not there, but they're like, call this number. So I call the number. The lady lives in the hotel, the front desk agent. So she comes down in her pajamas. I'm like, hey, like I didn't even relay the story. I'm like, can I stay here, please? You have 2 beds
for 6 hours.
Yeah, please. And she was like, yeah, sounds good. I didn't care how much it was. Just get me a bed. I got to check my statement. And we get sleep it off.
Well, you didn't.
My head was just, I couldn't. I got like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I'm just tossing and turning, knowing we have to go back into the border. Like, I'm just thinking, that's the worst part about it, was they made us feel like we're criminals. It's like, I hate the fact that we just tried to go to watch a hockey game. And, so that's why I was tossing and turning, because I'm just thinking of like stories. Like, what can I say if they say this? What do I say if they say this? But at the end of the day, I was like, Justin, all you can do is tell the truth. That's all you can do.
And you are going through the scenarios in your head. Like, we had already been fully searched, everything, our bodies, the car, everything is tested, swabbed, whatever. But you're still sitting there thinking of scenarios like, Jesus, what do I have on? Like, is this toothpaste illegal? Like, I had Buckley's daytime pills, and I was like, I ditched them because I was like, I don't even know what these, because you just don't want to take the risk again. And like, I've already gone through all this shit at the border.
We're Googling, can you ibuprofen?
Yeah.
Through the border? Can you bring ibuprofen?
And just like the whole vape thing too, like it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, but so you're sitting there thinking like, geez, like what, like maybe we are shit people. And like, think about this, like, but like for the last 10 years, me personally, I've cleaned up my act completely. Not that I was a criminal before, but like you're going through as an actual citizen now. You actually, you pay your taxes and all that stuff. So you're like, Jesus, man, like of all the times to go through and get hounded, this doesn't seem like the time.
All right, let's fast forward to the next day. We're driving back to the border.
Yep.
The guy looks like dude, so he's got the beard, the sunglasses. I'm like, that's a great start. But still, we were honest with him. We go, hey, here's our piece of paper from the incident yesterday, yada, yada, yada. He goes, okay, sounds good. Let's send you boys inside. We'll check the car again and then hopefully get you on your way.
Which we knew
what was going to happen, which is fine. So we're not upset. We're like, yep, sounds good. Let's just get through this so we can get to the game. We sit down. The gentleman that was working inside, older fellow, looks like he's been working there forever, was an absolute beauty.
Weapon.
What are you guys doing? Oh, we're just trying to get to the game. Oh, you guys are going to the game. Unreal. You guys are cutting it close, aren't you? And we're like, yeah, I thought he was joking with us, but I'm pretty sure he was serious. I'm like, yeah, we're cutting it close because of you guys here. I didn't actually say that, but you just, you laugh at these things that aren't funny just to try to make them feel like we're friends. Anyways, we get through that whole situation. He has 2 bosses. He goes, okay, sounds good. Let me call my supervisor. I'm going to go check your car. He goes and checks the car. Takes 2 seconds to check the car. Comes back. His supervisor comes to the front desk, and I overhear him. Like these rooms, they echo. So he's still behind the front desk, this older gentleman talking to his boss. And he goes, yeah, I just went in their car. They don't even have any clothes. Like the fellows are just trying to get to the game tomorrow up in Boston. They're coming back on Friday. So I knew this guy was in our corner. And his boss, dude, said you might have recognized him. I don't know if you did or not, but
he looked familiar.
He looked familiar. He just looked like a regular fellow. Like he was wearing like a Nike golf quarter zip, but yet
an Under Armour quarter zip, long sleeve.
But yet this guy's in charge of who gets to go into the USA and doesn't. So I was like, that's a kind of a good sign. So this guy goes away, and our older fella's just sitting there waiting, asking questions, yada, yada, about the medication and our file and all this stuff that's going on. I'm like, yeah, like I used to live in Vancouver. That's where I got my passport. This is the incident where I get my medication now. Just telling him the truth. That's all I can do. Like, you just, at the end of the day, the truth is going to line up, and it's going to get you through. And he gets a phone call. And he's on the phone call. Dudes looks at me. He goes, that phone call's about us. He goes, get ready. And I go, okay.
This is our fate.
This is our fate. And I go, Dudes' gut was on point. Like, when we were actually going to the border the first time, Dudes goes, man, my gut's not feeling well. Something's up.
Yeah, I'm sweating.
And I'm just calling bullshit. I'm like, everything's fine, whatever. And as this guy gets the phone call, I go, Dudes goes, all right, this is about us. Get ready. I look at Dudes and I go, Dudes, how's your gut feeling? And what'd you say? Like 20-80?
It was down.
80? Yeah.
No, you said 80-20.
Well, when we first, on the second time through, I was like, boys, my gut feels great about this. Like, it does. And then when we got in there, and there was, before that, there was a couple other calls. And at the point, I was 80-20. I was like, we're in. This guy knows what's going on. My favorite thing you said was, listen, I know it's not the greatest story, but this is the truth. And the guy was like, okay. So then he got the first call. And like you said, this one you could hear the people talking. So you were like, okay, you can kind of pick out what he's saying. We have a little bit of a chance. I said, but my gut flipped a little bit. Like I went down to like 60-40 after that.
Big time.
And then the phone call came in. And after that phone call came in, I was like, okay, I think we're good now.
Well, because Buddy said, he was like, all right, like my boss knows what's going on and he's going to talk to his boss and we'll let you know.
Yeah, and that's when Dudes' gut was like,
And it
oh,
was like,
man, we got to get through 2 bosses.
Yeah, when you're sending it. And these guys, like the one guy came out, but then the rest of them were like just chilling in the room.
Yeah.
So like they didn't want to come down and like face us.
And the old
It
guy
felt
too,
like-
I'll say, like he was chill, but he was obviously a vet there because the other guys were asking him questions about how to do things.
Yeah.
But he almost seemed annoyed that he even had to deal with this.
Yeah,
like
I heard him
I have to
say-
go search the car. Like we already searched it, and I left my suitcase completely stripped.
I heard him say on the phone, he goes, yeah, I'm looking at the report, but what's the issue?
Yeah.
I heard him say that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at the report, but what's the issue? Why aren't they going through? And then at the end, he gets the phone call. And as he's walking back, like, towards us, it was almost like time was frozen. Like, he was
Yes.
walking in slow-mo. Like,
Great
everything
description.
was moving quickly, yeah. But in my head, this guy took 10 seconds to take one step. Because literally, our fate depends on whether or not we get to go see Canada USA on this guy.
Did you remember what he said on the phone call?
He said, yep, we're
good.
good.
He goes,
okay,
we're good here. Okay.
sounds good.
And then we were like, oh my God, that's about us. Like it has to be because it's only this other old guy that's in the building.
I'm still not. I know that guy brought like 10K cash through.
yeah. He's like, what's the
Yeah.
deal?
So he's walking over and he goes, Justin, and I'm like, yeah, here we go. And same with me. Like as I'm walking towards him at the desk, time is slow motion. And he says to me, he goes, all right, listen up, young buck. If you come back to the United States again and you bring medication through that isn't matching your ID, you're going to have an issue with us. And I said, yes, sir. I apologize. It won't happen again. Understood. And he goes, all right, boys, have fun. Enjoy the game. Turned around. I'm still like, I remember one time, Dudes and I flew to Vancouver for the NHL draft, and it was like a surprise trip. The trip was like the next day, and as we were leaving the office to find out that it was funded and we can go, I didn't celebrate. Dudes was like, act like you've been there before. Stay calm, Justin. Like, relax.
At least till we get to the car.
Wait till we get to the car. So I remember that, and as I'm turning around to let Dudes and Jeff know we're good, I just slowly walk, calm, act like I've been there before. I go, all right, we're good to go. Let's just go to the car. And I was worried that Jeff was going to fist pump or something. Not that fist pumping was like, I knew Dudes knew the rule, but I was worried Jeff was going to like
Jeez.
give the old.
I got better situational awareness
I
than
don't
that.
know, man. I don't know. Just
So
let
much
me-
emotion riding
Let
on
me
it
tell
too.
my story. So we get up, we act like we've been there before. We get into the car, and Dudes is still doing, all right, boys, relax, keep your hands down, don't do anything. Act like once again, acting like we're criminals. We did nothing wrong. It's crazy. So we get into the car, even like 5 minutes in the car, I don't even know if we said anything to each other. We just sat there, okay. Can we see the border in the back? And then as soon as we just couldn't see the border, we're just like fist pumps. Like, yeah, we're going to the game. We're going to the game.
Born
we're
in
going.
USA.
Oh my God. So eventually we get through and we're just back on cloud 9. And the whole theme of the whole border incident was how much sweeter is this going to be for a story once we get through. That's the High Button Sports way. It could be things might not be going our way, but we always look at the positive. Always. There's going to be an amazing story that comes from this. And the fact that Canada won 3-2 in overtime after going through all of that just made it so much worth it. Canada, you know, it's Canada, baby. It's in us. We can get through anything.
Yeah.
We did it.
The other thing too is we had backup plans. Like we made the decision to go earlier. So we were like, okay, we got denied. We're going to go back. We'll try again, which you know what, boys, like I'll say you got to hand it to us. That takes us a heavy set of kahunas to just turn around, get denied, go back through the Canadian border and just grab a coffee and rip back through, dude. Like there's not many people that would do that. Maybe it wasn't the smartest decision, but like at this point it's like we're going. But anyways, all that to say, you know, we were like, okay, listen, if this is how it goes, we still have potentially a flight that we can catch. It may not get us there in time, but we do have a couple backup plans. We didn't want to have to drive back. Do you know how like humiliating that is to drive back
It wasn't
into
looking
Canada?
good.
No.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Like how bad of a look that would have been if we didn't get to the game after hyping it up on.
Oh, right.
online.
That's what
having
I was
to tell
worried
the
about.
story.
Man.
I forgot about that
The
part.
the initial 3 hours, like that was all I could think about. I was like, man, like I want to be at this game, but everything we've put into this, every podcast, every time you sent me the countdown.
Not to mention the money we put
The
into
money-
it to go, right? Like,
we still don't have back.
Yeah, and it was just like that was all I could think about I was like obviously wanted to go, but I was just more worried about the overarching,
Yeah.
like getting us in.
The other
providing
thing too was
content.
those truckers that came through, and they had like food you can't bring, and
Onions.
but like onions and kiwis and like these things that like are on the no fly zone, and like they just took that food and away the trucker went. And I know the trucking job is a little bit different than a couple guys going through at 2:30 in the morning, but like that was a slap in the face to me. And I said, I was talking to a couple buddies after, and it was like, if you're a criminal, you're not going through when nobody else is there. You're going through at the busiest time of day trying to blend in. You're not going to be the only car going through. And it's just like, of all the things, it was pretty crazy. But we had backup plans. And I'll say this, boys, like as much as we were frustrated, we didn't like, and if anybody knows me, for me to shut up for 3 hours is absurd, and we were just sitting there just like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on. And eventually we figured it out, but boys, we stuck together, like we weren't lying. That was the easiest part. It wasn't like we had to fabricate stories on the fly,
that
right?
was the whole thing to me. I was just like, I don't, there's no story that I could fabricate that will get us through this, but I do know the truth will get us through. 'Cause
Yeah.
even at the very end, the guy was like, so what medication did you have? And I was like, it's my medication. Everything's fine. The addresses don't match up. It's not the best story, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to sit there and just kind of make up this big thing just to get us through. I was like, I'm sticking to it because it's true and it'll get us through eventually because we did nothing wrong. It was just based on pure ego on the border saying, no, let's mess with these guys tonight. Like
The girl goes, "You don't have a passport to me?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "It's in your hand." And it's the
yeah.
freshest passport we got. It's like, what do you mean? Yeah, I just tried to come through with no passport.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? But I remember once we got through and after all that, because inside, we haven't really slept or eaten in a while, and you
I'm
just have like this
exhausted.
shaking energy, and like we finally got through, and you couple quick shoulder checks, make sure you're not going to get drilled here. And then we got through, and the first thing we did was put on Born in the USA. And it was
Born in-
just, I remember that being such like a relieving moment. It's like, I'm not even a huge fan of that song, but that was my favorite song in the world at that
Yeah,
particular
it's 'cause
moment.
I
And
was-
it was just like, and I have a video of it and I can send it to you after, but, and I'm like, yeah,
Sing
let
it.
it take you. We were,
Yeah.
what did I say? Almost banned from the USA.
It's because I had my Bruce Springsteen book.
Yeah.
And they checked it twice, and I was like, they must like us. He's an American hero. So as soon as we got through, I was like, chuck it on.
I remember when I went to Arizona last year, I got like an ASU college t-shirt and I was like, maybe I'll wear this and they'll think like I love America or something. I don't know. Like we're just doing anything to like let us in. Like I wore, Bruce Springsteen
I
book.
had my
let it
main
out.
shirt on.
Yeah, you had your main shirt. Yeah, we're like, hey, we love America. Like, we're cheering for America actually at the game, so let us through.
Yeah.
Let it play for a sec.
Sure, man.
Take a break. You're good.
We didn't listen this far in.
Just give me one more second. I just gotta catch my breath. All right. Anyways,
That was that right there. Basically, that song kind of like the key was already in the ignition, but that song turned the car on for us, and that was
Turned
and
us.
It just makes everything like I'm not a huge McDonald's guy. McDonald's felt amazing. Like after we finally ate, like it just everything we did, the root beer, the plastic straws, like it was just like everything was that much sweeter because at the end of the day, it's the journey, right?
well, everything was smooth. Like nothing could happen in the trip that would make it suck after that.
Yeah.
Literally, I could have got pulled over for a speeding ticket. I would have been like, "Have a nice day, officer." Like just nothing.
Thank you very much for safety.
at the
sounds
game.
good. Yeah. So I'm not arrested. Nothing. Okay, sounds good. I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Yeah. Bye later. Nothing could have happened, and nothing did happen. Everything was smooth. The weather was beautiful, sunny.
Yeah.
We got to the hotel, no issues. Pulled up, buddy, valeted our car.
Fairmont Gold.
Fairmont Gold. Dropped our luggage off right on the cart. We got up, showered, and then went outside. Explored, saw those four guys playing hockey,
Oh, that brought the peace to me.
That was like one of the best moments.
Yeah.
and we're just sitting there looking at the town of Boston in the background, going, "Let's do this, boys.
did it.
We did it. We're here. Now let's just have some fun."
The
And that's
epitome of winter.
And that's exactly what we did. We went out, had a couple drinks, had some dinner. Those nachos were awesome wherever we went. What was the place called?
Rock bottom,
Rock Bottom.
which is almost where we were.
Almost where, but
Very
we climbed
fitting.
back out.
Yeah.
It was freezing, and then we just walked back to the hotel, shut her down. The boys haven't slept, and at that point it's probably like 55 hours. I'm not the best math guy, but like Well, I
a
guess we
lot.
got some sleep at St. Andrews, but like I didn't get much.
Only 3 hours,
Yeah,
though.
max.
You were up walking the beach and showering, and
Well, I'm in St. Andrews. I couldn't sleep, so I was up. It's a cool little town, actually.
yeah, it was very nice.
And I'm just there, like looking at the waves, like thinking to myself, like, am I a bad guy? Like,
I remember us
I'm just
fishing for anything positive. And we're like,
Yeah.
this would be a great town in the summer. Like,
Yeah.
just like, oh, now
Yeah.
I've been here and I
Yeah.
can say this. And we're just like, all right, let's just shut her down.
the border
because-
literally made me think, like, maybe I am a criminal. Maybe I wasn't supposed to bring that stuff. It's crazy what things go through your mind when you have no sleep and you're not in a situation where you want to be. Anyways, game day. Dun-na. I don't have a song ready. Dun-na, dun-na-na-na-na-na-na, dun-na-na-na-na. Game day. Breakfast prepared for us.
Greatest
Bacon.
breakfast ever.
Yeah, it was the type of breakfast where like spoiled kids are born, like little brats. Like you get up to take your plates to the dirty dish area, and then he almost looks like a butler. He's like, "Oh no, sir, I'm gonna take that for you." And like it's like a guy comes and like takes things for you, and like if your napkin's not like folded, he'll take it and like fold it for you. It was just a place where like, yeah, spoiled, rotten kids are like raised.
Yeah, the kid was like, do you want orange juice? He's like, no, I want grapefruit.
Yeah, it was like that.
And you're like, whoa,
Ooh.
okay. I didn't even know that was an option.
And like
but
you
all
get
right.
in there and it's just like it almost like when we got in there for the first time, it was like the Italian prime minister was in there like trying out like Argentinian wines. And we're just like, oh, we're just here to grab some bacon and eggs and go to the game.
I never felt more at a place than in that area.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it
I
was-
said to you, I said, dude, I just like, this is awesome, but I just like, in my head, I'm just like not worthy of this type of living right now. Like it was wild to me. Force yourself to eat breakfast because it's beautiful in there.
Oh, it was a treat for
They
sure.
had yogurt on ice, man.
That's such a Bedford
Can
thing
you
to
tell the
say.
story about you said that you walked in there and there was just like a guy pouring honey or something?
Yeah. But he had his like, I was going in to get whatever, and he just had his yogurt like holding it up, and he had this fresh raspberries on top, and he just had the honey drizzler, and he was just going along the whole thing.
40 minutes.
I'm just like sitting here, right? I was like, oh my god.
Jeff's just trying to get a piece of toast and butter.
What'd you say to him? You're like, "What's up, man?" And he looks at you, smiles as he's drizzling the honey. He's like, "What's up?"
He's like, this is the life right
We've
here.
both been here before, right? Yeah.
Jeff's got a piece of bread heel with butter
Yeah.
on it.
Oh man, it was a crazy breakfast. Just a great way to start the day. Like free bottled glass water, free pop. Not free, it comes out in the bill, but feels free at the time.
Guy
And
math.
you're just eating like salmon for breakfast.
That was
like
wild.
eggs, bacon, every bread you could imagine, every like fresh berry. And as you're doing it, the people working there, like how it's hard to like when people work in the service industry, they're not happy. Like these people genuinely seemed happy. They were just like, "What are you doing today?" I'm like, "Going to the game." They're like, "Awesome, have fun."
Have some
like
breakfast.
these that was the difference. Like these people just like actually cared about our happiness at the hotel. It was just a really cool experience. And the day of the game was beautiful too. You get outside, sunny, a little cold, but I'm not gonna let that ruin my day. We go out. We go to every single. We would go TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
We got
The whole point was to find pants for me, but we made a full day of it.
yeah, dude's panic pack didn't find his pants.
Pants stick packed.
You never did get a pants, eh?
No, I ended up throwing in the towel. We found some other things that we liked. So,
Got a shirt from Mexico. Got the Nikes. You got some cards.
yeah, I got some hockey cards and I bought a funny T-shirt, but that was,
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Jeff got a.
I got some shorts, some t-shirts, some new shoes. That Dick's
Oh,
was
y-
crazy.
That was
Yeah.
what dreams were made of,
Oh,
man.
the rock climbing wall, the batting cage, and the Dick's and everything.
Oh, the dicks was so big.
That guy got in my way of a D1 scholarship at that batting cage, by the way.
$15 for 15 minutes. We were like, not worth it.
Yeah.
No one got my joke about the big dicks.
Sorry, that one flew right
We'll clip
over
that
us.
one for later.
But no, just like a great day. And then what did we end up doing for dinner?
We went to
Regina's, the pizza place.
Yeah, Regina's, whatever.
And we were just having some pops in the hotel room. The thing that was crazy to me about ESPN down in the States is like the biggest hockey game ever is about to happen. And on ESPN, I didn't see one clip of it. Like they're talking about like a free agent for the Cincinnati Bengals like the whole time.
Right before commercial, they'd be like, by the way, Four Nations, Canada, USA. All
Yeah.
right, flipping back to the Bengals.
Yeah,
and you're
back
like,
to LeBron's quote about losing. It's like, what?
We even tried to get Sportsnet in our room because we each have it on our phones, but they wouldn't, just because of where you're at, they wouldn't let you watch it.
I just couldn't believe like the no hype on.
Yeah,
the-
because that's what we want to do in the hotel is watch hockey highlights and
Yeah.
watch the hype up, get some information for the game, right?
There's nothing.
Yeah.
So anyways, we go out, we go to Regina's, which is apparently an establishment pizza place in Boston. We just stumbled upon it, which is the best part about these travel adventures we go on is I don't like to make too many plans.
Let it find us.
Let it find us, and that's exactly what happened. We walk in there just like old Boston police badges all over the place. Like
Pictures.
you walk in there, the waitress is like almost rude, but she's like right from Boston. Like, what do you want? Yeah, and I was like, can I get a picture? She's like, what kind of picture you want? And I'm like, I don't know. She goes, make it up, you mine. I'm like, cause.
Hustle bustle in
Yeah,
there.
and then she comes back. She's like, do you guys want another picture? I was like, eh. And before I could even like say, she goes, yes and no. And I go, I guess yes, sounds good. She goes, all right.
She was
Pizza
like,
was
I can
good,
tell
too.
you're not from here.
Yeah, she goes, I can tell you're not from here. I'm like, hey, sorry, it's not my fault.
The place was cool too, man, because it was like that, almost like that movie scene restaurant. Like it had that light, fluorescent
Yes.
light. There was a bunch of people out front. We thought it was a line, and the guy was like, "No, you go ahead." Like blah blah blah. He's like, $5 through me, and you can go in. But it was so small too that, like, when you got up to use the washroom, which the washroom was hilarious, it was like this big. But you were like up in people's shit when you got up. That's how like small and quaint this place was. And there was like pictures of Rob Lowe and like just anybody who had ever visited. So this was like one of the cooler Boston spots I thought we could have found, especially for like the wood-fired pizza and like the pictures obviously were a nice touch. But like even just like being in there, you could tell that the energy was high for the game, and that's why people were there. But there was also a lot of locals that probably went there on Thursday nights, right? Like it had like the fluorescent sign out front, and it just looked like a small hole in the wall. Like it was almost like the most inviting place you could have went to, and
Yeah.
the food was great. The people were awesome in there.
Yeah.
And it was just a crazy like atmosphere to start the game for sure.
That's the thing about like the American hockey fans is like they're passionate, but they're kind of quiet. Like they're not as loud and maybe like abrasive as we were being. So like it felt like, you know, that we were in there just like definitely a couple beers in at this point, kind of like the loudest ones in the room. I don't know if that was the case, but that I was kind of feeling like that vibe.
I ended up apologizing to that family.
Yeah, that was
just
such
in
like
case.
For what?
such like an in the
Oh,
bag
yeah,
thing to
yeah.
I
do.
just walked up. I was like, "Hey guys, I don't know if you guys heard us. We may have sworn too much. I know you have kids here. I just want to apologize for that.
They
But
were like-
we're getting all fired up for the game." And they looked at me like,
What the hell?
they were like, "Thank you." I
Yeah,
guess I'm like, "Okay,
that-
cool."
that was such a
I feel
wild-
better about myself
I was
now.
laughing at
A
that.
maritime boy in you. That's what that was.
Yeah, and like you said, with a little buzz on, I
yeah.
automatically get more friendly and warm, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm so sorry about this."
Oh man, we really screwed this one up. They're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
go on.
And then we get to the arena.
Oh, 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 oh. We get in there, Canada chanting, USA fans chanting, Canada, USA, Canada. And then eventually we get in there, and at this point, honestly, we could have brought it. Like, we were terrified of going through any border. Like, so we're like, should we bring our passports to the game to get through security? Like, we're just like, we're overthinking everything. Like, dude, got your vape on you? It's like, yeah, but I think I'm allowed to. We're thinking of every scenario. You got any onions on you? I don't think you can bring onions in. Like,
They didn't search you at all.
We're just panicking. But anyways, of course, we get in, nothing. Just we're in, and the energy in the building, I will say at the very, very beginning, a little tense. Like, I saw a USA guy, and I saw him smile. And I was like, okay. And then I saw another USA guy talking to a Canada guy, and they were like hanging out. And I was like, okay. Because you kind of believe the hype of the media of
All
everything,
the
like,
politics
like it's going to
stuff.
be a war in there. And you like us dummies are like, maybe. And you get in, and then you just see a bunch of people wearing two different jerseys, hanging, laughing out, buying each other beers. And it just goes to show you, like, even like on the way home, we were watching the news, and how all they cared about was the political side, and USA hates Canada, tariffs, and it's gonna be a, but it's not a game, it's a political warfare, and all. And you get into the rink, and it's just people watching a hockey game upset about beer prices. Like, that's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe the things that they were saying on the news relating to the hockey game. It kind of pissed me off a little bit, to be honest.
It was less
you.
about hockey.
It was less about hockey and more just about what Trump tweeted about the game. It's like nobody in that rink really cared about anything outside of that hockey arena. It was one of the most beautiful spectacles I've ever seen in my entire life. There was an American guy sitting right across from me, and what did I say? Like, I was like, he touched it. That wasn't a high stick. And it was an American call, and the American guy looked up at me. He goes, yeah, you're right. He did touch it. That was a high stick. Like,
that was when I got faith back in everyone in the building. Not that I didn't have it, but when that guy agreed with you right away, I was like, okay, like the hype of what they painted this out to be just isn't anywhere close to what it was in the building.
no, not at all. One guy yelled at Jeff, and that was about it. But that was after McDavid got the OT winner, and he's wearing a McDavid sweater.
bright
So
orange
I
too.
got, even if I'd be upset too if I was American.
I
It had
had-
nothing to do with a tariff.
I had like 6 people go by me, like joking around, like that's great, like congrats on the win, and only one guy was actually pissed about it. So I thought those numbers are pretty good.
Yeah, those
You
are
know,
Hall of Fame numbers in the
percentages.
MLB.
Yeah.
I was actually pumped for you, man, for that, because I know you had a
Oh.
heartbreak last year for the Oilers in the Cup, but to watch him score, I think for the reason, because I asked you, I'm like, we're obviously celebrating, and I was trying to catch the goal on video, which was kind of a mistake, and obviously I was a few vodka crayons in, but I looked at Belly after we were celebrating, and I'm like, who scored? And he goes, Canada, and I'm like, no shit, but who scored the goal? And he was like, oh, McDavid.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. And Jeff was basically like tearing like beams out of the ceiling of the TD Garden, man.
Dude.
But it was a great moment, like for a hockey fan, and just like to allow the day to just to kind of come at you and happen to watch one of your buddies like be so happy, because I was happy too, right? Obviously it's Canada, I'm more patriotic than most people, but to watch you celebrate like in real time, real raw emotion, not a forced celebration, was one of the cooler moments for me for the game, for sure.
Dude, like I was just dialed in, and as soon as McDavid got that puck, like I've seen him play so many times, I knew it was him as soon as he got it.
Yeah.
And it was at our end, like they were shooting at our end, and I just saw like the puck snap into the top right and then like bounce out or whatever. And then as soon as I saw that, I just jumped up and I was doing this like behind, because there wasn't that many Canadians in our section. Like it was dead silent in our
Yes.
section when
Yeah,
they
when
won.
when you see our celebration
was-
video behind us, no.
Yeah, like no one. So
Lifeless
like at that
Canadian.
point, I was like, all right, it's time to tee off on these guys, and like I was turning around, like pointing at the jersey.
I was wagging your jersey for you.
Yeah, and I was like, I was thinking about it after. I was like, there's probably nowhere else I'd like. That would be my 1-1 on my draft on like where I could be in that moment for Canada winning. Just like the only McDavid fan in the section. Just like everyone looking around and just being able to rub it right in their face, man. It was glorious.
And
Marner
everyone
made the pass.
listening, if you don't know, Jeff dislocated his shoulder earlier in the year. So to see him fist pump the air, everyone back home was nervous that he dislocated it again. So we're happy that didn't happen.
Oh, dude! Like I said, I was chirping everyone, but you know, it was all in good fun, of course. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it was a fantastic, and I wasn't sure if I should wear the McDavid jersey, but at the end of the day, I've kind of always been a troll at heart, so that was like the pinnacle of trolling for me.
One of the coolest things,
Worked out
man.
well.
You talked about like the silent section. I didn't realize how silent this section was until afterwards, and I watched the videos, and just like the one guy commented like the biggest lifeless Canadian on the coast to coast was behind you guys, but like it was silent, but probably the, if not the coolest moment of the game other than the goal, was watching 15,000 American fans just bail. And it was it was just a sea of red after that, man. Like, you know, all of us have been on the losing side of things, and you've seen, you know, the Metro Center clear out, or even just like, you know, any other game that you've been to and the team that you wanted to win doesn't. You leave, right? To watch that many American fans who were so, I don't want to say cocky, but they were confident
They
that they were
wanted to
beating
win.
Canada. Like
They-
were
yeah.
after that one round robin game, and you just knew it, right? And watching them all funnel out, and then you go down to the mezzanine, dude, and it's just Canada jerseys, Canada national anthem. People are spraying beer all over the place. Like, you would have thought that those 5,000-6,000 Canadian hockey fans had all known each other for their entire lives. Like, that's just the patriotic side of Canadians, especially when it comes to hockey, man. Like, that was one thing. I didn't videotape it all during that, probably because I just forgot, but also just like being in the moment, man, and just looking around was it gives me chills talking about it now, that how everyone can just unite for 5 minutes and just be best friends.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting pictures and videos. You don't know anybody. You're just like, hugging random
Me and
people.
McDavid's dad.
So
Yes.
backstory to this, it's probably like the third period, and at this point you're still into the game, but every whistle or commercial, you're just looking around to see if you see anyone, and we're in the upper bowl, and we look down, and I go, is that Jeff? And then Dudes is like, no, he's sitting to my left here, Jeff. I was like, no, like Jeff Marchand, like that's him right down there. And Dudes gets his spy glasses on. He goes, holy shit, that's Jeff Marchand right down there. And then all of a sudden we look behind Jeff, and it's like, oh, that's Crosby's dad. Oh, there's Nate's dad. Oh, there's Brad's mom. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's Connor McDavid. It's like, and then we realize this is just like a big family section. So then after the game, we're just like, okay, if there's going to be a big old Canada celebration, it's going to be right down there in that section. So as soon as everything happens, we go, all right, let's just go down to where the party's going to be. So we head down to that section. The next thing you know, it's all these families of the team. And they didn't. Well, we know the Marchands,
Yeah.
and I know Nate's dad kind of, and I interviewed Sid's dad back when Pittsburgh played Ottawa. So I went right up to Troy. I was like, "Hey, Troy, congrats! Let's get an interview in." And he knew I was messing with him, so
Yeah.
he's just like, "Get the fuck out of here! Get out of here, buddy!" And then I was talking to Nate's dad for a bit, and then when Canada lifted the cup, everyone, like you said, went to the mezzanine.
Mezzanine.
And then that's kind of where Sid's dad I saw again. I was like, Troy, let's get a photo. He's like, let's do it.
We had the flag too.
We had
which
the
helped.
flag too. I go to one guy who's in the photo. I don't even to this day no one knows who he is. I
Got
go,
the
He's right
glasses.
behind me.
I
in the
go to
photo.
him. I go, hey man, do you mind taking a photo? And I hand him my camera, and he goes, absolutely not, but I'll be in it. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So then like the guy behind him, I'm like, hey man, you take this photo.
And we ran into two guys from Cole Harbor too, of all
Yeah,
like Craig Ferguson.
yeah.
And that, like, of all people, you know what I mean? Like, you walk down there, there's 5,000-6,000 people. You could run into anybody, but the
Yeah.
two people from your neck of the woods is who you find.
Yeah.
And I remember, Jeff, you come down, and I was like, McDavid's brother's a spitting image.
Yeah, he
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Like you could have easily got a picture with him and been like, we found McDavid. But his dad, because I remember we kind of just like disputed it, because we're all three of us very aware of like the situations. And sometimes you don't want to be that super fan that's just like, hey, can I get a picture after the celebration? So we kind of waited, and you and I kind of
I said I wasn't going to do it.
and I was like,
I
no.
don't want to bother him.
And I was like, no, you're doing it. I was like, oh, I'll ask him. And then finally you were like, no, I'll do it.
Took
And then-
you like once being like, yeah, do it. I was like, okay, all right.
And then his dad, dude, was so happy to take a picture. And I know the moment gets to you, but like, you want to talk about a gracious family. Like, of all the celebrations, his son just scored the biggest goal in Canadian history up in, for this decade so far. And he was just like, yeah, let's do it. And I just remember taking the picture, and he was so happy to take that picture. You know what I mean? And you're just like pumping his tires. You're like, your kid's the best in the world. And they're like, oh yeah.
I never thought I'd be able to like personally talk to McDavid's family as I'm wearing his jersey after he just scores like the biggest goal of his career.
His mom,
Didn't really
his
come
mom
up.
gave me the old fist pump. Like after we were celebrating, I just turn around and it was his mom and the dad behind, and the mom just goes, "Whoa!" and just gives me a big old fist pump. I'm like, "What'd you feed that kid growing up?"
When we were singing "Oh Canada," his mom and brother were walking out, and I had the jersey on, and I was like pointing at it. I was like, "This is the best in the world," and they're like, "Hey, nice." Kept going.
They're like, is he?
Yeah.
You think? Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man.
Just
He's
an
my hero.
unbelievable ending to the game.
And we saw JR too, which was cool. And he was a huge
Yeah.
beauty. America just lost. He ended up
Yeah.
this is pure like luck, right? We walk through these doors to leave after all the excitement. We're walking through the doors, and Jeremy Roenick walks out. And you like double looked at him. You knew that it was somebody, and then it clicked to you, oh, it's Jeremy Roenick. And I yelled at him. I'm like, JR, I was like, you're a legend. And he goes, I know. And then we were like, all right, can we get a photo? He was like, absolutely,
Oh, yeah,
boys.
he
He
was a
looked
great
so
guy.
happy. Like,
seconds after U.S. lost too, he just,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
can just appreciate a good game because he
And then
didn't seem rattled.
As soon as he ended up leaving the photo with us, he got crowded by American fans, and he started taking photos with them. And then they're like, "JR, what'd you think of the game?" He goes, "Boys, best player on the world got the OT winner. I can live with that. What do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
And then just
OT?
walked away. Best player in the world gets the OT winner. Not much more you can do. I'm out.
I'd like to share the part where I went down to get a double vodka, and the guy at the cash goes, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. All the Canadian fans have been ordering doubles and triples. He's like, we had to put the kibosh to it. Like, specifically the Canadian fans. It's like, because you never know if you're going to get down there again, right? But the TD Garden's set up. There's basically a concession in behind every section.
Oh.
Like, it's, and I had never been there before, man. Like,
Unbelievable building.
not a bad seat in the house.
No.
And your seat selections, man, are bang on all the time. Like, we were right on the aisle. You could see everything. Like, we were in basically the Canadian area, and we got to see the goal right in front of us. Like, what more do you want from the
I
situation?
never thought of that. Yeah,
Right? And we didn't, you
was
didn't
right
plan
there.
that, you know
No.
what I mean? But I also would like to backtrack and say that I called the 3-2 overtime win on the podcast before, so we're just going to state that. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. But man, like, you don't even remember half the stuff, guys. Like, and it's not because we were drinking and stuff, but it's just like there's so much happened emotionally, and especially if you just allow. Like, we're very good at like being in the moment and just allowing things to come to us, and just like, instead of trying to like force fate, as we always say, we just like let it come to us, the emotions, no matter what. At one point, I think I teared up. I have no idea why, just because of like the energy in the building. But I will say, before I forget and we move on, one of the coolest things for me was the random Johnny Hockey chants. That was like a small moment where everything was put aside, and it was just like random. Like, it'd be a random part in the game, it'd be like a whistle, TV timeout, and people would be like, Johnny Hockey. And that was when USA, Canada, Sweden, Finland, everybody agreed on one thing, and that was that we missed Johnny Hockey, and that those chants just broke out in Boston, man. It was that was what gave me the biggest chills, other than the goal. It was just like a really cool moment to be a part of live, right? Because you wouldn't hear that on TV.
And the gentleman that came out at the beginning was wearing a Johnny Hockey jersey. I forget his name.
Oh, Micah Ruzioni.
Micah Ruzioni was wearing a Johnny Hockey jersey, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, and I remember the national anthem being this like big thing. Everyone was waiting for it, dude. It was awesome. Like,
Yeah, like,
they booed for literally 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's
and
always
then
the drunk guys.
By
right?
the end of the 5 seconds, all the Canada fans were singing together. Like,
Yep.
we were singing. Oh, we were going for it. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Micah Ruzioni out there too. Like, if you haven't seen Miracle and you're a hockey fan, well, I don't know what to tell you, but the Miracle on Ice, Micah Ruzioni, like, he got a crazy ovation. And then we got Gretzky as our representative. I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen Gretzky live in person. We were, 6,000 feet away. But just like those small things, man, like you grow up as a hockey fan and you see Lemieux and you see Gretzky on the TV. And then you have Gretzky and like a Ruzioni, and then you got McDavid and you got Sid and you got Nate all in the same building. I mean, I'm like, and who else was there? JR, like all these guys. It was just like a dream come true, man.
When you think about legends, let me give you the definition of a legend. I'm not actually going to give you the definition of a legend, but Sid's a legend.
Yeah.
Brad Marchand's a legend. These young guys coming up, it's like, Connor Bedard's, who's the guy on San Jose there? Celebrini. Like, they're going to grow up. They're going to be unbelievable hockey players. Are they going to be legends? I don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. To be a legend, a lot needs to go into your game, to your personality, to the things that you do off the ice. But there was legit legends playing on that ice surface all at one time. And will there ever be legends all together like that, playing against each other, playing with one another all at once? I don't know. You can win. I don't know people, but there are players out there that have won 3 Stanley Cups, still not legends.
Yeah, exactly.
There's people out there that have done incredible things in the sport of hockey, still not legends. But you have guys out there like Sidney Crosby. You have guys out there like Brad Marchand. Nate is a legend. I know obviously those 3 guys are local and I'm extremely biased, but I'm pretty sure you can go across the hockey world and say legend. Connor McDavid will go down as a legend.
Yep.
American side, who could you say is a legend there? Not to be rude, I'm actually just asking.
It depends, like, on things. Like, obviously, like, Matthews is one of their top guys. Hellebuck.
He hasn't done anything yet.
No, that's what I mean, right?
Okay, well then maybe we'll just stick with the Canada side.
Yeah.
No disrespect to USA. I'm not saying that, but I am saying truly all these legends playing together on one ice surface for this tournament, especially for that one game, is something I'll tell my grandkids. Just, it won't be forgotten.
When you're 90, drinking out of a straw.
Sipping out of a straw, boys.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I'm trying to think like of other things that happened that I can remember, but
You almost got into the VIP after party by pretending you were.
Seth Jarvis.
That's the right player to think.
Well, yeah, I just try in my mind, we did everything honestly on the way up there, and I thought, you know what, if there's ever a time to lie, it's right now. And it all kind of like it wasn't our plan to try and get up there. These 2 ladies came up and they're like, "Oh, you guys are players." They thought we were players, which I thought
I said no, and they just said yes, you are.
So after that, I was like,
That's when you
okay,
take
well,
the hint.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can read the room here.
Yeah.
So we go
Let's
up
give
the
it a go.
stairs. Those 2 ladies got right in because obviously,
Did they?
Yeah, they're just gonna let the chicks in. That's obvious. So we get to the top of the stairs, and I'm like, okay, now my brain's going. I'm like, okay, dudes, you're a great bullshitter, man. Like, let's do this. So I just straight game face the guy. He's like, hey, you guys players? I'm like, yep, Team Canada. And he was like, oh, what's your name? And I just go, boom, Seth Jarvis. Because obviously he knows I'm not McDavid. I'm not Sid. Everybody knows those faces. So I'm thinking, okay, who's a guy that he's kind of like a lower level guy on the team, kind of maybe looks like me. My other option was Travis Konechny because those 2 guys, they're dark beards and stuff. So the guy goes, oh, Seth Jarvis. He goes, looks at his little paper and he goes, yep. So I start to make my way up the stairs, but he turns to you next, and you were just like, introduce yourself as yourself, and then
he goes, who are you? And I go, I'm Justin from High Button, and I'm just thinking that's good enough. Like, first of all, I don't even know what we're trying to get into.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I find out that this is the Team Canada after party with all the players and the players and the parents. Like, I literally just think this is just another level of the bar. Like, I don't actually think we're trying to sneak into something.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
there was no information relayed.
These girls go, are you a player? I go, no. They go, yes, you are. Come with us. I go, okay, sounds good. Let's go. And then I didn't honestly hear what you said at the beginning because it was so loud. I was like,
and I'm not facing you.
So they go, who are you? I'm like, I'm Justin Belanger from High Button Sports. I'm like, that'll definitely get us in. pumping my own tires big time. And
In
then
Boston?
the guy looks at his paper and then looks at me and goes, I don't think so.
He ended up bringing another guy out, like a representative, and that because after you answer, because he looked at the sheet and he was like, "Oh, that name's on here." So he started to wave me in, and I was like, "Okay, but I'm not going to go without you guys." So I'm like, "Okay, hopefully they pick up on this."
Dude, even the fact that you're trying to like justify looking like Jarvis though.
Yeah, I
like,
know. It was just hilarious.
It was just like it was like ridiculous. The whole thing was because you had your backwards hat on.
Oh, yeah.
And the fucking coat. I had my McDavid jersey on.
Everybody else was wearing their like t-shirts from winning, and we're just like in regular human clothes.
I
But
was
the
just
guy,
like, you had to.
I know that he didn't believe me for a second. He stared at me for a minute to like maybe think, okay, he's going to tell me the truth, and my face was literally like this.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And then he was like, "All right, come on in." But then the other representative came out, and we were making our way up the stairs, and the guy was like, "I don't know those guys."
Well, it was Belly with the I'm Justin from High Button. That was the.
You were just at the bottom taking it
I was
all in.
I was gonna wait to see how Justin played it because if we got two going, I was just gonna kind of fill him behind and be like, yeah, I'm Patrice Bergeron, man, alumni.
You got a McDavid jersey on.
Yeah,
he's got a
new fan.
Connor McDavid Bergeron.
That was my plan, but didn't get to me. So
But anyways, that was a cool
Oh,
moment too,
man.
because the bar, we had tried to go there before, but it was packed. I think it was called Banners, and it was connected to there. So we just like, we're all right, well, whatever, it is what it is. We'll stay here. We seen all the players funneling in, and then Sid came in, and this guy beside us goes, "That's Sid, look at the quads." And I was like, as if that's what he's known for. But we got to see him lift the cup out to the
Pump
crowd.
it.
We started a chant too, by the way, lift the cup, and then he finally did, and the whole place was Canadian fans. There was like maybe one USA jersey.
this is
in
probably
there.
at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
2:15.
And they had just
For
got there, and they're in
reference.
t-shirts and their gitch still and stuff. The families are all waiting, and you see all the guys come in, like Sam Montembeau came in, and us as hockey fans, I recognized everybody. I was like, "Oh, Marner, blah blah blah," like we were 12, and then he lifted the cup up over like the glass balcony, man, and I'll never forget that moment. It was like the most Canadian pride I've ever had, and the whole bar on next to TD Garden is just screaming at Sidney Crosby like they are 10 years old, man.
Yeah.
It was like you seen him in the hotel playing mini sticks, and he made an appearance. We're like, "Yeah!"
Belly's face was like fully lit up because I was sitting across from you two with like my back to it, and I was just looking across, and Justin was just like,
Well, I couldn't believe that like I still like you were telling me, you're like, that's the after party up there for the players, and I didn't believe you because I didn't see any players or anything. And then all of a sudden you just see Sid with the trophy, and I'm just like, holy shit, he's telling the truth. That's the real deal.
yeah.
I told the truth all week except for on the stairs.
And McDavid, he walked by, he went right behind you guys, like literally like half a foot behind you. He came down and like ripped through the bar. And I jumped up for a moment, but he was going quick, and I was like, that was like the same thing with the dad. I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go up to him and like go fan, like he wants to go probably hang out with his wife or something.
Before we left the bar, I was looking at Sid, and I was like, Sid, come on the podcast. And I swear he turned around and went, okay.
Oh yeah. All right,
Tonight.
now we're getting into the deep stories just in your head.
And then eventually, what did we do? We just left, ordered like $200 worth of McDonald's, ate one bite of my burger, and then
Belly
called
ordered
it a-
That was
30
it.
nuggets. And when I woke up the next morning, and on the my Big Mac was everywhere
Yeah,
on
there
the
was like
thing.
29 nuggets on the table.
I think I ate the only nugget.
Oh, it was bad.
You were battling that Big Mac, man.
Well, it was just flopping
So then,
everywhere.
so can we get to the next morning?
I just want to say one more thing,
Okay.
because my on the food note, when we went back, we were trying to find something that was open, and there was nothing open. Like, there was one McDonald's, and it was open till 3, and this was like 20 minutes from now. So the next morning I woke up and I opened up my Safari, and my one search was, it was supposed to say Chick-fil-A. We were trying to see if it was open across from the hotel, and it was just completely botched. And I was like, no wonder we couldn't find any food. You're like trying to search Chick-fil-A is open or whatever. But anyways, you ended up going to get the food. I totally forgot that we were even getting food. I was just laying on my bed like, come on, man, get me the food so I can go to sleep. And then you come back in the room, and I'm like, hey, where were you? And you're like, getting the food. And I was like, oh yeah, my bad. Okay, let's eat and go to sleep.
Yeah, time to wrap it up.
So the next morning, I wake up at like 8 a.m. to a text from CTV Callum, and he was like, "Hey, can you come do an interview? I'm sure you're hurting, but before you hit the road, yada yada." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So you guys left, went and got breakfast. I chucked a sweater on, like did the old lick, comb over, got ready for the camera. Shared my piece, talked about the night, packed the car, hit the road, and now we're here.
The Canadian border's so funny too. They're like, were you at the hockey game? We're like, yep. She's like, welcome back.
Oh yeah, the
It's
border.
like 30
Yeah.
seconds.
She's like, "How was the game?" It was great.
But even on like the way through when we got denied the first time, the difference between the 40 feet was absurd, man. Because
Yeah.
the Canadian border guy was just like, no matter what happens over there, boys, you guys are always welcome back
That
here.
does make sense though. Like we're citizens of one country.
Yeah, of
We're
course.
trying to, muscle our way into the other.
Yeah. And then,
Anyways.
also, we forgot this. We were joking about the flights and stuff, and like our flight that Thursday that we would have potentially had to catch ended up getting delayed by like an hour, so we wouldn't even have made the game. And then the whole flight home got delayed, and it was just like you do the math after, and you're like, okay, we made the right decision, because there is a certain point where you're leaving there, and the roads are trash, and we're driving through the middle of the night, and it's like, are we doing the right thing here? You know what I mean? And obviously, I'm not a great passenger, but it ended up working out, man. And just to be able to sit here and tell the story is absurd of all the things that happened.
We did it. We made it. Canadian
We did.
heroes.
Mm-hmm.
We made the trip. And now we're back, boys.
Yeah, and it was right back to reality.
Back to life. Back to reality. We actually had streams on the drive home. They all went really well.
Yeah, the Myra charity game was a really big hit.
Yeah.
Shout out to the guys for us that were there.
So, Cole, you said you couldn't even get in the rink?
Yeah, it was packed.
It was packed, eh? That's
Sprite
awesome,
on,
man.
baby.
Hockey community around here, they support, they show up. That's awesome to hear.
They
That's
do,
wicked.
man. And the Myers are great people, so it's obvious.
I
right?
saw the interview. Interview looked good.
Yeah, you did a great job on that.
Good job.
Yeah, they're a good family, man. So hopefully, Carter, if you're listening to any of these, man, keep pushing.
Keep
'cause
pushing,
everybody else
brother.
is going to do the same.
Keep pushing. We're going to see him actually, I think next week or Monday. We're going to go see them. Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Everyone listening, thank you. How much time are we at?
56.
105. Everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in. Do you guys have anything to promote before we go?
Nope. U18 playoffs going on. I mean, round 1 going on right now. So check out the site for that. And we're going to crown our first high button U18 major playoff champion in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
First ever.
The banner's going to look sick. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's going
I
in the
hope it's
basement
good.
there.
You got anything to promote?
Nothing to promote. I forgot about something, but we'll get it to the later point.
All right, sounds good. Everyone listening, have fun, enjoy the week, work hard. High Button Sports is the name of the company, but the name of the podcast is called The High Button Podcast. We are out. Have fun. We are out again. Peace, peace, peace.